Wherever the breeze passes, everything is peeled off and broken. If you encounter danger, sacrifice it. Right, there is that goddess. After teaching Olivia, I looked around the boat. I found that the figure of the blue and white flower was gone. Mr. King has already leave others to seize the opportunity. Michael's eyes lit up when he heard Olivia's words. He put his arm around Olivia's waist and tucked her under his arm, holding a clay pot in one hand towards the giant flying boat. Receive. The entire spaceship suddenly turned into a stream of light and was put into a clay pot. Pursing his lips, he looked at the other flying boats floating in the air. Those people left in a hurry, leaving only a few guards guarding the spaceship and warship. These forces are used to being so domineering. Big opportunity. This is a big opportunity. The bloody sword in his hand was raised, forcibly split the shield of a flying boat. Countless guards were so frightened that they ran away with their heads in their hands. Gold, do you want to make an enemy of our general? When my heir apparent comes out of the secret realm, you will definitely die a miserable death. He forcibly drove all the guards off the flying boat and used clay pots to take the flying boat inside. What kind of bullshit prince is he afraid of? I still don't know if I can get out of the secret realm. Even if I come out, I can only walk back. Although the shields of these flying boats in the sky are open. But under his sword, it's like paper. It only takes one sword to break through the defense theory and treat it like a lamb to the slaughter. Those who wanted to escape by boat would be shot down with his sword. Something I can't get. No one else can even imagine it. In just a few dozen minutes, the originally crowded gate of the secret realm was empty of people. Olivia opens her mouth wide, look shocked. How many spiritual stones will you earn in this way? You must know that there are so many peaks in Wanda Mountain that you can't even build a complete flying boat. It turns out that Senior Brother had already planned it. Since when? I probably planned all this from the time I was refining the parts. Is this the true strength of Senior Brother, compared to swordsmanship? This kind of control over the situation makes her admire her even more. Senior Brother, can you give me one? And Michael pinched her little nose. Choose whatever you want. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. I have the final say within DAQM. Look, let's also go into the secret realm and have a look. It took Olivia into the secret realm gate. The moment you enter, you feel the majestic spiritual energy rushing towards you. This is a huge square. The area is larger than Tianshu Plaza in Wanda Inn. There are 8 stone pillars erected in various directions. At a great place, Michael turned around and closed the door. We took out the clay pot. 8 surrounding stone pillars rose from the ground and were collected into clay pots. Now the door is not only closed, he suddenly disappeared into the square. Senior Brother, how can this clay pot hold so well? Michael hung the precious clay pot back on his waist. Of course I can install it. It took half of Tianfeng's mountain to be dug to refine such a thing. Now yo, go on an adventure yourself. I'll sleep for a while. He took out the chaise longue from the clay pot. I found an outlet from the wind and lay down. And you land. A slender figure appeared at the original location of the Jiali stone gate. His withered arms caressed the disappearing stone door, with extreme malice in his eyes. Michael, back then you forced yourself to borrow your luck from the weather. Do you think this can suppress me? I'm back again. He has a crazy look on his face. He suddenly turned his head and looked towards the horizon. There is a flying boat coming quickly. Anthony frowned slightly on the flying boat. He felt the powerful killing intent from the figure in the distance. Crazy. He just arrived. I didn't provoke anyone. Why was he being targeted? Right. The Son of Luck detected. The opponent's current luck value is 300. Anthony's expression changed. Son of Luck. Beloved child of heaven. But this Son of Luck seems a little too shabby. How come there is only 300 luck? When he wanted to continue exploring, a figure had disappeared. The other party seems to have some scruples. Like I'm avoiding something. Seeing the other party leaving. Anthony didn't think much about it. This time, he came to the Saints' secret realm. I don't want to cause any problems. Hello, others below. Do you know where the Saints' secret realm is? He raised his waist and shouted to a group of men below. The men below looked at each other. Now they have lost the flying boat. How should Zheng Chu explain to the young master? Now someone is taking the initiative to deliver it to your door. This is really God's mercy. There's a bright future. Hello, Taoist. We are also about to go to the Saints' secret realm. How about you give us a ride and we can show you the way? Anthony is overjoyed. He's been here twice already. Not even here. Now, if someone shows me the way, I will naturally not refuse. Immediately let go of the flying boat shield and welcomed a few people in. Everyone, please also give me the direction. We will go immediately. Several people boarded the flying boat and showed their murderous intent. Hello, Taoist. Aubrey, a dangerous world. The world is in decline. Anthony searched for half a day and still couldn't find the so-called secret realm of the saint. Instead, He was seduced by countless low-level monks. In just a short while, this flying boat has been robbed. What the hell is this place? Why is it so chaotic? Although these monks are not very strong, but never tire of it. I have no bottom line for this spaceship. Some rely on deception, seduced by treasures. Some use honey traps. Others used flying swords to attack the flying boat barrier from a long distance away. Used every possible means. Later they even formed an alliance to steal it. Compared to Anthony, who was running around, Michael was living a very comfortable life. A phase-less bones in the body are frantically absorbing the spiritual energy in the secret realm. His cultivation has broken through to the 3rd level of key training. This is something I never dared to think about before. The pleasure of improving your cultivation is simply fascinating. My little Olivia, you are really my lucky star. He sighed while feeling Olivia's position through the breeze. Still moving. Alive. Good. At this time in the mountains and forests, a small figure is running. She is holding a red spiritual grass in her hand. Her forehead is covered with sweat. Behind her, a foundation-building giant was chasing after her. Olivia gasped. Flee desperately. Now she has reached the 8th level of key refining. A full 5 realms higher than Michael. Natural strength is tyrannical. One person and one person fighting in the forest. Beating the grass and the trees fly. That giant tree bends. A green bamboo sword swept across and brought up a touch of blood. He was chopped down by her. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly there was applause in the forest. The foundation-building monks walked out of the bushes. Her little sister is really a demon. Used the late stage of key refining to kill the monsters in the foundation-building stage. Sharp. The 2 of them had already hit aside when they heard about the fight. Now the monster is killed. Olivia is exhausted. It's just the right time to take advantage of the fire and rob someone. I wonder what elixir my little sister stole from this monster. How about taking it out and letting us take a look? Olivia looks cold, but the little hand hid the red spiritual grass behind his back in panic. She pulled out the bamboo sword stuck in Ju's body, placed the 2 foundation builders' head on without any fear. People came in good numbers. An bunch of trash dares to compete with me for this opportunity. It's just a matter of life and death. This was the first trick her senior brother taught her, and get a head start. Correct every word. Just copy it over. I saw the little girl trying to fight for her life. The 2 foundation-building stages cursed and left. The bad luck. What kind of treasure is it? It turned out to be 100-year-old heartbroken grass. That's it. It's just a waste of my expectations. Seeing the disgusted look of the 2 people, Olivia frowned. Broken intestine grass. Exercise, exercise. The older monk turned around. Silly girl. The severed liver and intestines. I saw the 2 people leaving without any regrets. Olivia felt a little frustrated. It was the elixir she had worked so hard to snatch. He was actually disliked. No, I can't hold back my senior brother. Gritted his teeth. Bao Yao continues to look for opportunities. Several foundation-building monks are bombarding the formations of thatched houses. Olivia immediately got up on her knees. She's thin, lying down in the grass. Only one dull hair is exposed, swaying in the wind with the weeds. If there is no need for spiritual consciousness, it would be extremely difficult to discover her. This time, she wants to be a fisherman, be the last hunter. Boom. Thanks to the continuous efforts of the 4 foundation-building monks, the defense formation of the hut exploded. The formation is extremely powerful. The 4 monks were immediately knocked away by the impact. The hut was also blown up and blown to pieces. Countless black and yellow mud is scattered everywhere. The 4 monks were covered in sticky. A foul smell spreads. This is the toilet. Look what I found. A saint's stepping stone to the toilet. It seems to be made of glazed nephrite. Hard-sheeting the building. Saints don't have to go to the toilet at all. This is mostly used by his disciples. Several people got up and discussed around a slightly yellowed stone slab. Dao Yao was lying aside and twitching. One of the monks looked this way. He is extremely sensitive. Immediately he noticed Olivia's hiding figure. Not good. Someone wants to snatch this opportunity from us. Let's all take action together. Olivia was shocked, and up and run backwards. At the same time, he also opened his mouth to explain. Fellow Taoists, I have no intention of snatching your slave. How many people will listen to Olivia's explanation? The opponent is hiding in the grass. The motive is obvious. The reason why they didn't take action is simply that the 4 of them have plenty of energy now. If they had been seriously injured just now, I'm afraid that the opportunity has been robbed now. Surround her. Prevent her from leaking the news about our opportunity. The war is about to break out. Foundation-building monks are now able to wield swords. Chase a key, refining period with ease. But Olivia has an innate sword body. The attack was extremely fierce. After being unable to attack for a long time, I had no choice but to retreat. Olivia spurted out a mouthful of blood, pressing against an old tree in the battle just now. Her spiritual energy was exhausted and she suffered some injuries. Now I need to find a safe place to rest and recover. Taking a deep breath, she dug a tree hole behind her and hid in it. Brother is right. The outside world is really dangerous and dangerous. After sighing for a while, Olivia started to use the technique. He took out the healing pills from his pocket and took them. Thanks for the gift of King Biehua. Otherwise, she would be really in trouble this time. Night is approaching. Michael Yondon stood up. He glanced at the entire secret realm that had fallen into dead silence and frowned slightly. How can you be so peaceful in the secret realm of a saint? It's time to make things more difficult for you geniuses. Red gems flashed behind him. A scarlet sword suddenly slashed down into the jungle. The raging flames instantly ignited the jungle. The fire is driven deep into the secret realm by the wind. Countless ferocious beasts roared and fled. The secret realm suddenly became chaotic. After the sword strike, he lay on the rocking chair again. A little sparrow flew over and sat on his shoulder, chirping as if complaining about something. Okay, you go and look at my little junior sister. She's my baby bump. Don't let anyone hurt her even a hair. The little sparrow pecked Michael hardened, then flew up with its wings. It headed straight into the jungle to cross the fire zone. Countless flames burst out around it. The heavy smoke made its pin. Looks very dangerous. Little guy, don't be so afraid of fire. You have Suzaku blood. Maybe you will wake up after a few burns. Come on, I'm optimistic about you. The little sparrow chirped. Its fur has been permanent curled. If you bake it again, it will be cooked, awakening the Suzaku bloodline. Go ahead and lie to hell. At this time, Olivia, who was hiding in the tree hole, opened her eyes, slightly. But it was already dark in the secret realm at this time. Night is the home of ferocious beasts. She planned to hide until dawn and then go out to look for opportunities. Debris swirls around it. This is the supreme sword intention given by Senior Brother. She has already understood the essence of it. If she encounters those for foundation-building monks again, she is sure to repel them all. At this moment, Olivia's nose clicked. She felt an anxious breath. That should be the fighting spirit burning in your heart. A tree hole exploded. Olivia gasped and rushed out. Her fair little face was blackened by smoke. The hair on the head is a little curled up. The fighting spirit ignited a bullshit heart. That's the forest on fire. Countless wild beasts are running wild in the jungle. Behind him is a rising flame. Those who run slowly will be buried in the sea of fire and treated as coke. There was a trace of panic in Olivia's eyes. She has never seen such a battle since she was a child. The beast keeps roaring. It was mixed with some curses from the monks. They are also fleeing for their lives. Some monks were trampled into the dirt by ferocious beasts because of their slow speed and never got up again. A scene of hell on earth. Acting on instinct, Olivia also ran in the direction where the beast was escaping. If you are slow for 1 second, you will either be trampled to death or engulfed in a sea of fire. Look, are alchemy monks fighting ferocious beasts in the sky. Run in another direction. Be careful to be implicated in their aftermath and the chaos. Olivia saw a pill-forming monk being torn in half by a ferocious beast. Are also nascent soul monks who stir up the storm and instantly annihilate a large number of ferocious beasts. Messi, she is a little confused now and doesn't know where to run. Let's go with the flow. Running for her life next to her was a big, bulking bear. Olivia recognized it. After all, they are local. Maybe I know a way out. The big bear was running for his life while staring at the direction Olivia was running away with his little eyes. Deeply aware of the wisdom of the two legs. If you follow this little girl, you will definitely save the bear's life. The fire continued to burn until dawn. It started to rain lightly in the secret area of Zhejiang and Zhejiang. I don't know how many ferocious beasts and monks were killed in this chaos. Ran most of the night. Olivia and the big bear were exhausted. The monks and ferocious beasts who had escaped together before also ran away. Olivia huddled up under a huge bun and a leaf to hide from the rain. Her eyes were a little red. I just feel so humiliated. The outside world is too dangerous. If you don't practice immortality, you can live 70 or 80 years. I almost escaped this catastrophe when I was 13 years old after becoming an immortal. A big bear fell down next to Olivia. It leaves a banana leaf to catch the rain from the sky and drink it. Olivia snatched the banana leaf from its hand. Fold the leaves into a cloak shape. This time I can catch half a bucket of water at a time. Come, open mouth. Pour water into the big stupid bear's mouth. The latter's eyes are slightly brighter. It learned a very practical life skill from humans today. This wave of profits is huge, touching the big bear tossing the plantains. Olivia sniffed. I got up and climbed up a tall tree and looked at the surrounding environment. This is a canyon, surrounded by mountains. It looks a bit gloomy. After looking around, her eyes stopped at the depths of the canyon. There is a faint red light shining there. The light is deep and cold. Very mysterious. Olivia looked happy. Elixir, definitely a panacea. She immediately jumped down from the tree and walked deeper into the canyon. The big bear looked at Olivia hesitantly. He stuffed the whole banana leaf and the water inside into his mouth and followed. After a while, she came to the place where the red light flashed. This is a deep pool. A blooming lotus stands proudly in the middle of the pond. A red light seen in the distance is emanating from this lotus flower. However, there is still a figure standing next to the lotus. He slowly turned his head. Yao Yao suddenly felt like she was being targeted by a poisonous snake. You are the little girl next to King Zenbi. Olivia's pupils shrink. Stand on one's head. Turn around and run without hesitation. She really didn't expect to encounter the Dark Knight here. Michael has offended the other party before. Now I am met by myself in this deserted place. It's just killing me. Another life and death crisis was caught by her steadily. The corners of Dark Knight's lips curled up. Take the lotus flowers from the pond and put them in your storage bag. Unexpectedly, there was an unexpected surprise. Run, and you run away. His figure melts into the water like ink, and he reappeared. He emerged from the shadow behind Olivia. Olivia turns around and kicks. The figures crawling out of the shadows dispersed instantly. She held the bamboo sword warily and looked around. Beware of attacks that may appear at any time. Little girl, you can't escape anymore. I will crush you into pieces and throw you in front of King Zenbi. I'm really curious as to what his expression will be like then. Boom. The shadows of the surrounding trees all rioted, like countless twisted hands hitting the ground. A difference in cultivation between the two is to be, and the opponent has the weirdest dark attribute. I'm just trying to get her. Otherwise she wouldn't be able to hold on even one move. A black shadow fell on Olivia. Her small body flew out in an instant and broke 7 or 8 big trees. The trees blew up around her and swayed away the sharp blade that attacked her. It's the sword energy left by senior brother. Olivia got up with difficulty. Blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Gigi, I heard a familiar sound. But so what? Even if Michael stands here today, I will kill you without fail. The figures in the Dark Knight condensed out again. He slowly walked towards Olivia's position, with bloodthirsty madness in his eyes. At this moment, a beastly arrow suddenly appeared next to his ear. His body stiffened for a moment as he wanted to avoid it. A huge bear paw swept across. The sharp claws crushed everything along the way. The figure in the Dark Knight was swept by the giant claws mashed into the mountain. The big bear jumped out, grabbed Olivia and ran away. Damn it. Is this ferocious beast mentally ill? It's best not to let me catch up with you. Otherwise I'll peel your skin off. This claw did not cause much damage to Dark Knight. He flew through the air and once again chased in the direction where one man and one bear were escaping. This is destined to be a long-lasting pursuit. Although the big bear is not fast, it has rough skin and thick flesh. Amazing defense. Olivia lay in its paws and trembled slightly. The bamboo sword I held in my hand never let go. She still has a trump card. Senior brother's sword energy has not been fully used yet. She was a little reluctant. This is the sword energy given by my senior brother, not even senior sister or master. How long had she been away from her senior brother before she had to use this last trump card? I've embarrassed my senior brother. Silly bear, let me go and run for your life. Actually, we have no friendship. Michael suddenly opened his eyes in the square. I also heard the cry of the sword. He stood up, looked slightly into the distance. A piece of charcoal enters the eyes. Can't see anything clearly, but that's not important. The important thing is that, in this secret realm, there is a sword that he can control. He raised his hand slightly and shook it, by grabbing the hilt of the sword. After closing his eyes for a while, he had no choice but to open them again. He couldn't feel what was happening around the sword. That's not important. Must cover the whole screen. I hope no innocent people are hurt. Note, there are really not many people as kind as me. Michael sighed slightly. Sword 3. The wind blows. A big bear holding Olivia and running away suddenly felt a pain in the palm of his hand. It held Olivia's bare paw and unconsciously let go. There is blood dripping from the bear's paws. Olivia was released and did not fall to the ground. Instead, it floats into the sky. At this moment she seemed to have lost control of her body. What's wrong with me? The Dark Knight chasing after her didn't care what happened to her. He raised his palm and slapped Olivia on the forehead. This palm is mixed with great power. Black emerges from his palms and climbs up his arms. Veins popping up on arms. Before the palm could reach, the wind blew all the trees on the ground into pieces. A big bear holds his arms in front of him. A figure curled up into a flesh ball and was blown away by the wind of the palm. Little girl, watch where you run. Dark Knight with a wry smile on his face. The palm of his hand pressed Olivia's forehead fiercely. But the moment he touched Olivia, his expression changed drastically. Doesn't feel right. There's no such feeling of being slapped softly on the little girl's body. Instead, it's like a bomb hitting a sharp blade. The black lines covering his hands were instantly cut apart. Half of the palm exploded into blood mist, and because he couldn't unload his force, his body was crashing into Olivia. But at the critical moment, he extended a palm towards the void. He was able to avoid Olivia's body with the force of counter-pushing. Even so, the tip of his nose was still cut off half an inch. After running and landing, he looked at Olivia in the air in horror. Damn it. Damn. How could a living person turn into such a sharp sword? Could it be that you are a cultivator of Excalibur sword spirit? His questions were unanswered. The following words were drowned out by the sound of swords. It was the sound of wind like a tsunami, feeling the raging sword energy. His soul was almost gone. Such a divine sword paired with this sword energy is a must to reach for the stars. Among the geniuses of the same age group, who will come and who will die, shameless old thief, and heirs to disrupt peer rivalry. Naturally, Annie didn't think this was someone of the same generation taking action. There must be some unruly older generation who want this opportunity to kill themselves. While cursing angrily, he activated his escape technique. His figure fades away like a shadow, and a different voice sounded in the wind. Sword free. The wind blows. The strong wind peels off the skin and bones. Wherever you pass, the leaves of the forest scatter one after another and then break into pieces of green. In the bark, chunk, dead grass on the ground, stone, soil. The wind at this moment has color, with greenery, with pink and white, with light yellow, floating in the air like ribbons. The gray fur on the belly of the big bear lying in the distance was blown away. The fat on the belly flows like waves, resisting the wind. Fortunately, it was blown far away by the palm wind of the Dark Knight. Otherwise, it would definitely turn into a scarlet ribbon. The Dark Knight is not so lucky. A figure escaping in the void was blown away before he even hit the ground. All his clothes were torn to pieces and scattered. The skin was peeled off layer by layer, revealing red flesh and blood. At this moment, he had already heard the origin of that voice. King of Zenbi, but he is obviously younger than me. Why is King Zenbi so scary? Are you still being unreasonable? Roar with all your strength. Michael, how dare you kill me? My father is the marshal of the country. The roar of the wind is mixed with whispers. This is the sound made of wind. It is also the final death notice in the Dark Knight. And my mother is still the Empress of Kin. Band stops. Various colors of smoke and dust slowly fall. The jungle is shrouded in smog. The sword comes, and Michael makes a move. Olivia's figure turned into a stream of light and headed straight to the square. A hilltop palace. King Bi, who is exploring this place with mates. They had a good harvest. Not only did he gain powerful combat skills, some precious elixirs were also discovered. At this time, Olivia's sword light just flew over the heads of the 5 people. The blue and white flowers cover their eyebrows with one hand and look up to the sky. My goddess, this seems to be Olivia. How could she fly before she even established her foundation? Sensing something was wrong, she hurriedly chased after her with her men. Miss Haoli and his junior sister Wanda Cheyenne. And she got along quite well with Olivia on the flying boat before. Of course I have to go and see what's going on. In the square, Michael looked at the sword light flying in the distance. A flash of appreciation flashed in the eyes. It is indeed the best sword in the world. As during the key training period, he is so sharp. If one day he transforms into a god and enters Taoism, wouldn't he be able to open the sky with one sword? The sword light fell in front of Michael. Both feet were inserted straight into the floor of the square. Olivia is still confused at this time. What happened? And why did he suddenly fly back to his senior brother? Division, brother. Michael picked up his sleeves and stepped forward. I carefully wiped Olivia's dark face, eyes full of heartache. What the hell happened? That the sword be covered in dust? Reparations. What's wrong with you? I feel so sorry for me. The senior brother. Feel the care of brothers. Olivia's eyes turned red again. Tyler is just a 13-year-old kid. My heart breaks out with grievances. I was sobbing a little while talking. Senior brother. I hid in a tree hole to heal my wounds. As a result, we encountered a wildfire. That mountain set me on fire all the way. It's so smoky that I can't even open my eyes. After escaping, I met your enemy Dark Knight again. He wants to catch me and threaten you. Wildfire. Michael's wiping action paused slightly. Who sets the mountain on fire? Damn it. And the Dark Knight. Dare to bully junior sister. I will definitely kill him. I've Olivia's face clean. Michael looks at the mountains in the distance. A huge palace appeared there. The most brutal fighting has begun. Many geniuses do not want each other to rush to the heavenly palace. Who doesn't want to get involved in the creation of saints? Senior brother, why don't we go and rob it? Olivia is a little eager to try. As long as her senior brother is here, she is not afraid of anything. Michael shook his head. The saint's secret realm was originally a trap set by him. There's really nothing to snatch. Olivia, it's time to go. A real challenge waits us outside. I don't know how many masters there are among them. It was a wrong decision to put Ava on the throne in the first place. Caused him too much trouble. Inbi, who armed for sword attendants, hurriedly arrived to the square. She breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Olivia's beauty. Her junior brother Wang, you are leaving. Michael glanced at the blue and white flowers. I almost forgot about this classmate. You know this place will be completely closed after he gets out. Those so-called geniuses will be locked up forever. He won't be released until he sends his troops north. And come as vanguard when he leaves Xingyu Pass. Shall we go together? Please be I who took a look at the Saint's palace in the distance with a trace of reluctance in her eyes. Of course Michael knew what she was thinking. If you want to inherit the Saint's inheritance. I'm afraid you'll have to wait a long time before you can get out from here. That's the meaning. It means I'm going to take away the door from here. In BA, Aihu was stunned. Then his face changed drastically. This cuts off everyone's escape route into the secret realm. How dare he? Offended so many sects at the same time. Michael raised his finger and drew in the void. A vertical light door appeared. He took Olivia and walked out. See the light gate slowly disappearing. Aihu hurriedly ran up. Wait for me. A light gate connects the entry position. It's just that she regretted it as soon as she stepped out of the light door. Here is the sky. The ground was surrounded by monks. They held long swords in their hands and surrounded the place with murderous intent. Michael, you used the Saint's secret realm as bait, controlling and cultivating goo with the inheritance of saints. Do you admit guilt or not? The man with a withered body stood in front of many monks. Michael started questioning him as soon as he came out of the secret realm. And Michael squinted slightly and looked at the man. The other party is very thin, but it seems that my age is not much different from mine. Her face is somewhat familiar, but he can't remember. You're my Tinnis. Have we met? The man saw the confused look on Michael's face. He looks more and more crazy. How dare you not know me? Before entering the year. Right. It was 8 years ago that you accompanied your father to the northern plains. You remember? I was the one who killed your father with my own hands. Explain. Where did you hide my luck? He almost drawled the last sentence. The sky trembles. The words were filled with extreme anger and resentment. And Michael squinted slightly. He recognized it. But the other party has changed too much. Back then, he was elegant and handsome in white clothes. Today, his ugly is 1,000 households. It is indeed difficult to put the two together. Oh, it turns out to be you. Listening to Michael's calm tone, the man is so angry that his liver hurts. He only felt a pair of fists hitting the cotton. Why are you so calm? And Michael laughed. My lineage is the king of Zanbiar. Countless battles have been fought throughout the ages. Many elders died on the battlefield. That enemy has more hair than me. But you want me to remember them one by one. Who are you? The man was left speechless. The arms in the black robe were shaking violently. At this time, the muscular man walked out beside him. He no longer wants to hear these two people talking about their grudges from 8 years ago. He shouted angrily when he opened his mouth. King of Zanbiar, you designed to harm the genius of the human race. His crime is a pearl. Michael glanced at the man who spoke. Christian, Vice Chancellor of Qin, reaching for stars. Make good use of spears. This guy was once a military commander on the battlefield. He ruined his own army because of his reckless use of troops. Become a civil servant. 1 year he was asked to deal with famine refugees, in order to prevent the refugees from fleeing to other places. This guy killed an entire state of people, known as the military prime minister, dancing around. In addition to Christian, are 3 ether people reaching for the stars. 7 or 8 gods, except for the 4 major marshals of the country. All the important people in DAQ are basically here. All you here have killed few geniuses over the years. Said so grandly, isn't it just to let Ava secure the throne? Evil beasts, we are not here to reason with you today. And Jiju Muluk pointed at Michael with the fingers and spoke coldly. He doesn't understand what these people are doing here when they are in the key refining stage. I suppress it with bare hands. Angu narrowed his eyes and looked at Luke. The bloody sword condensed in his hand. And what the hell are you still talking nonsense about? As soon as his figure dispersed, he transformed into countless clones and pounced on everyone at the same time. The sword light from the sky shines like the scorching sun. Olivia draws her bamboo sword. They rush towards the god transformation realm standing on the ground. It was because she had already risen with her sword and joined the chaos in the air before she even got close to them. She was stunned for a moment while holding the long sword, and then stared at another nascent soul stage. Kill, shouting to change direction. A green light flashes on the bamboo sword. A breeze beneath her feet added a bit of speed to her, but as soon as she was halfway out, Inbi grabbed her by the collar. A silly girl. If you don't run, what are you waiting for? Hope was so frightened that her face turned pale. So many great powers take action at the same time. The spiritual energy rolls and destroys the world. If you're not careful, you'll be swept up in the aftermath. Dare to rush up with a bamboo sword. Don't be afraid. A senior sister, my senior brother is here. It can also make me suffer a lot. She just finished speaking. A strong wind swept across the mountain, but two of them were blown hundreds of meters away on the ground. A blue and white flower robe was torn into countless rags. A hair scattered and hanging down. My face was scratched on the ground. Damn, this is your senior brother's sword energy. NBA Ihua gritted her teeth. The enemy did not attack us. Instead, it was her own people who made her covered with bruises. She knew that Dog Man was unreliable. The swordsman who was following closely behind him didn't know where he was blown away. I made a big loss this time when I went out. Olivia ran and crawled out of a mud pit. She just hit a rock. She shook her head vigorously and looked around for the bamboo she didn't know where she had dropped. People came in good number. A bunch of rubbish. They just don't know how to live or die. After searching for a long time, she pulled out only half of the green bamboo from a crack in the stone. When she held the sword, her confidence increased again. He glanced around and saw only King Ihua running toward him in panic. All enemies have joined the battlefield with swords. There's no one here who can't wield a sword. She looked up at the sky fiercely, feeling intense surges in eyes. He raised his sword and threw it into the sky. Michael's white hair is dancing in the air. The scarlet sword energy formed to huge wings on his back. Not afraid at all when facing a group of strong men. There is coldness and murderous intent in the voice. A bunch of rubbish. They just don't know how to live or die. Waiting for the day when I build the foundation. I want the imperial city of Kim to flow into a river of blood. His wings flutter. A figure quickly goes away like a stream of light. That's the direction of Shiwanda Shan. Countless monks followed closely behind him. All kinds of brilliant moves are unleashed. The rivers and mountains on the ground were exploded and collapsed. Especially caught and killed. Own position. A green bamboo sword drawn by Yao Yao flew dozens of meters and fell to the ground. She stood up, drew her green bamboo sword, and chased forward. After only running for a few minutes, she stopped again. A senior brother and those monks are too fast. She can't see anyone anymore. Damn it, I actually lost track of you. Jinbei Ihua, who was running up from behind, rolled her eyes when she heard this. This little girl is usually very well behaved. Why is he so murderous despite his low cultivation level? Oh, Yao, your senior brother will be fine. Heard this? Yao Yao couldn't help but think of Jianfeng's current tragic situation and her heart trembled. Can't go back. I can't carry this pot. Although it was true that she cut the bamboo at Jianfeng. Although Jianfeng was indeed dug down by himself. And how could she withstand such a huge cause and effect during her small period of refining her energy? Boom. And Michael got punched in the back. His body was smashed into a mountain with huge force. Excessive use of sword energy made his face look a little slumped. The bones are already visible on half of the face. The force targeters are very difficult to deal with. And the child of luck who has been squeezed dry is also difficult to deal with. These people want to consume him to death. Surround him. This child's physical body and bloodline no longer exist. The whole body is composed of sword energy. The only way to kill him is to use up his sword energy or destroy his soul. Michael stood up. His left hand shattered like dust and turned into sword energy, swirling around him. These people have seen through his lies. I want to eat away at myself bit by bit. Christian always maintains a distance from the main battlefield with his sword in the air. Prevent Michael from using the sword energy to wrap up his soul and escape. Others are arranging formations. Stay ahead by reaching for the stars. The rest of the people use remote control to continuously consume. Guess why I dared to go down the mountain even though I knew I would be surrounded and killed. There is peace in Michael's eyes. Through the broken skull, a white haze of light can be seen in his brain. This is the soul of the monk. He carries memories, emotions and will. It is the core of a person. Once it is damaged, it means death. The souls of monks at the realm of nascent soul and above are protected in the nascent soul. But Michael is just a key, refiner. No matter how much he kills W.S. Wang, his weak points will still be clearly visible. King of Zenbi, don't say too much. You will definitely die today. No one can save you. Luke holds a sledgehammer. A huge shield surrounded him. Michael's sword energy is pervasive. This thing looks like a pokeball. No gaps at all. You are quite well prepared. Michael looked at the thin and dark son of luck. The corners of the mouth are slightly raised. Back then I stole the fortune of heaven. How's your luck to dry up? It hasn't been easy these years. Has it? Aren't you curious where all that luck went? Come here. I tell you secretly. Right. What's your name? Amuel. Right? What a name. As Michael finished speaking, all surrounding attacks suddenly stopped. Not only Samuel wants to get his luck back. Monks present were also curious about how the destiny of heaven was stolen. Where was it hidden again? If you get that thing, wouldn't it take off immediately? When the time comes, you won't get any opportunity you want. You want it too. And Michael's face showed surprise. But there's only one reward. It's really embarrassing. He has madness on his face. The skin peels off in pieces, revealing the scarlet color inside. Madman, this guy is crazy. I don't know if Michael is okay with everyone's comments. So what if I'm crazy? How can we live without going crazy or crazy? He was born in the palace of Zenby, where wars were endless, but no spiritual roots. If my father and brother are still alive, they can still protect me. But both of them died in the battle. He can only do this if he wants to survive. Become stronger at all costs. Even if I lose everything, a white hair turns into mere sword energy and shoots out, floating in the air, leaving a large network covering thousands of meters. The Yuanying monk is trapped in the net and cannot move. Some people were cut into pieces and scattered. Yuanying was also blown into nothingness by the sword energy and dissipated. The scarlet flesh and blood peeled off layer by layer with the sound of swords. The fleeing cultivator lost consciousness for a moment before being penetrated between his eyebrows. Evil beast, how dare you be so cruel? Behind Christian, a demonic ape statue rises into the sky. A huge palm came down to suppress. Every bit of sword energy was broken and eliminated. Rejoicing flashed across his face. This battle is no longer something we can participate in. They have fear on their faces. Everyone is the mainstay of great kin. But now he is forced to do this by a child. After looking at each other, they retreated thousands of meters again. The demon ape's giant palms struck the ground and raised a large amount of smoke and dust. Countless sword energy spreads out again. Everything for miles around was shrouded in sword energy. Under the intense sword energy, the four star pickers did not dare to release their spiritual consciousness to examine the smoke. You must know that there is a kind of sword energy specifically aimed at spiritual consciousness. If they are not careful, they may also be in danger of falling. Alcon, one of them reaches for the stars and swings his sleeve. The billowing smoke and dust rushed toward his sleeves and were collected into his sleeves. The good hand holds everything up on sleeve. A smile appeared on the man's face when everyone praised him. This is his famous trick. He is comparable to the Buddha kingdom in the palm of Buddhism. Let's see where he escapes this time. Just when everyone thought Michael had nowhere to escape, a man suddenly felt pain in his armpit. A long sword pierced out of his shoulder. His sword is extremely sharp. There were several black vortexes on the sword that were frantically squeezing the spiritual energy from his body. He was shocked and wanted to retreat, but it was already too late. The long sword lifted up his head and threw it high. Samuel stood on the top of the mountain in the distance and watched this scene. There was no look of surprise on his face. After spreading out from the sword field, he retreated. How could Michael be so easy to kill? If it had been like this, he would have died in Tianlang Mountain long ago. After sighing, he continued to watch the battle closely. After the smoke cleared, Michael was nowhere to be seen. The opponent seemed to have transformed into this overwhelming sword energy that was everywhere. Has the soul been killed? He frowned. A long sword fell to the ground after beheading the Jiaxi. He seems to have lost control. Christian and others looked at the heads rolling on the ground with horror in their eyes. The overwhelming attack poured down again. The long sword was shaken by the beating, but there was no movement at all. It is certain that there is no soul fluctuation on this sword. Luke is wary of approaching the phaseless sword. He reached out and pulled the sword out from the ground. It's a good sword. It's a pity that the sword spirit was destroyed. Only half of the edge left. As he said that, he threw the Wuxian sword back again. Although the Wuxian sword has no sword spirit, it is still a magic weapon. But this is the sword Michael used. He dare not take it with him. No one knows whether this swordsman genius left any backhand on the sword. And another starcatcher walked around the sword field, but still couldn't find Wen Hui. Finally, he also came to the Wuxian sword. This sword is good. Gabriel, you majored in Kendo. It suits you? After hearing Christian's words, Gabriel narrowed his eyes and looked at the Wuxian sword. The sword is inlaid with a dull yellow bead. The other 6 holes emit deep black light. This is the thing that just killed a starcatcher. He doesn't dare to ask for it. Christian said this obviously to deceive himself. This tease was the result of everyone working together to kill him. He does not dare to monopolize. The 3 of them look pretty. No one dares to touch this phaseless sword. Even though they all thought Michael was dead, still have a deep fear of the sword he left behind. Before Tyler, no one had been able to practice swordsmanship to this point. No one knows how many other methods he has. Scared to see Gabriel, Christian kicked the broken clay pot on the ground and left with Eugene. Let this sword stay here and be buried with him. Wait until the 3 star pickers leave. A group of transformed guards cautiously came forward. They looked at the sword with greed in their eyes, but no one dared to step forward to take the sword. Finally, after searching for a while, I left in love. It's getting dark. as Samuel slowly walked into the sword field. He didn't look at the sword. Instead, he went straight to the broken clay pot. He bent down to pick up the clay pot and then looked inside with his spiritual consciousness. I saw hundreds of flying boats of various types and huge stone pillars inside. This bastard can really cause trouble. If we take away these flying boats, I'm afraid that in the future I will be hunted down by all the major forces. After hesitating for a moment, he took out the stone pillar. The clay pot was thrown carelessly on the ground by him. These flying boats are a hot potato. It can't be hidden like other magic weapons, unless you no longer hang out in the Diacuan realm in the future. Otherwise, you will be found out if you leave early. As a few days after everyone left, a sparrow flew over. By chance, he escaped all the stray sword energy and finally landed on the star-catching head. The eyebrows of that star-catching head are split. The soul of Taoism floats out from it. The surrounding sword energy quickly converged towards the soul. After a while, the sword energy condensed into a 7 or 8-year-old boy. It is inevitable that the sword energy is damaged and the body shrinks. Aiko reaches out and moves the phase-less sword to automatically merge into his body. He picked up the clay pot from the ground and hung it on his waist. The cultivation level of the 3rd level of ki refining has now become the 1st level of ki refining. Damn it. Why is this happening? Normal monks will not fall even if their spiritual energy is exhausted after a great battle. But he spent most of his cultivation in one battle. This realm is actually a what-I'm thing. No, there must be another way. After thinking for a long time, he changed direction. There is no need to go to the 100,000 mountains anymore. So what if I earn more spirit stones and materials? If it is of no use to him, it is trash. After crossing many mountains and rivers, he came to a small mountain village with dozens of households. Most of the houses in the village are made of clay. Many mud walls are also covered with cow dung, and palm trees are used to prevent wind. There is only one well in the whole village here, located under the old locust tree at the entrance of the village. A woman who looked to be in her 30s was walking back to the village carrying a wooden bucket. Her face is a bit rough, but her pretty appearance cannot be concealed. It can be seen that she must have been a gorgeous beauty when she was young. Widow Zhang, went to fetch water again. Other villagers greeted her. There is some fire in the eyes. How you just came back from the mountains. I'll go get some water and give him a hot bath. Smile on woman's face. There was a little pride on her face when she mentioned her son Haoju. She walked along the stone road in the village and arrived at the entrance of the village. When I looked at the village well, the smile on my face disappeared in an instant. Under the old locust tree beside the well, a boy of 7 or 8 years old is squatting by the well. He looked at the well water with a serious look and a dull look on his face. The woman was stunned for just a second, then turned around with a bucket and wanted to leave. But as soon as she lifted her steps, a childish voice sounded behind her. Sister-in-law, don't come without lamb. The boy is naturally Michael, and this woman is his sister-in-law Zhang Yanru. You seem to be afraid of me. Michael's voice is cold. A figure appeared next to Zhang Yanru in an instant. The latter shuddered, eyes a little dodgy. How many people in this world are not afraid of Michael? Everyone in the Wan family is a war madman. When her husband died in the war, she hid here to save her son. But I didn't expect to be found now. Yutian, I don't want Haoju to die on the battlefield like his father. Michael snorted coldly. He naturally knows what Zhang Yanru is thinking. It can only be said to be the kindness of a woman. Sister-in-law, what my Yi family has done has contributed to the present generation. Profit in the future. You haven't seen it outside Xinyu Pass. I don't know that demonic cultivators feed on the evil energy of human blood. You were not born in Shiwanda Mountain either. I don't know how ferocious monsters are. Take me to see Haoju. Zhang Yanru dare not speak. I can only walk ahead carrying the bucket. Michael, on the other hand, easily followed and looked at the village environment. Widow Zhang, I went out to get water and picked up a child. Isn't this the illegitimate child of you and the village boss? How about giving birth to one for me too? Some young villagers started joking. They looked at Zhang Yanru with unbridled eyes. The orphans and widowers who live in this village seem to be bullied a lot.